I'm going to take a few minutes before the panel to just give you a little bit of a sense of what we, IBM, are doing with OpenStack. As many of you know, we've probably, or maybe some of you, we've been associated with the OpenStack Foundation as one of the founding members of the foundation. So we've been involved. I made that decision about a number of years ago that we would get heavily into OpenStack, and there's a number of reasons why we did that. Primarily because a lot of the issues that we deal with are essentially hybrid. The types of clients that we deal with and we serve are looking for multi-cloud models, hybrid models, where they can actually have an IaaS, an infrastructure as a service abstraction that allows them to both write applications, multi-tier applications, multi-cloud applications across quite a number of different platforms. And one of the focal elements of our cloud strategy is really around this whole notion of digital enabling and digital transformation. So the reality of those types of environments is that they tend to cross multiple deployment models. So within the context of the cloud architecture that we've established within IBM, we've tried to essentially accommodate a layer that allows people to then build multi-tier applications, as I said before, as well as multi-cloud, multi-tier applications. And so we've essentially bet on OpenStack that in a way that will allow us to do that, okay? So in that context, essentially, it's one of the core elements of many of the open technologies that we've addressed and accepted and adopted and moved through our overall cloud architecture, okay? Once again, if you start to think about the whole idea of digital enabling and digital transformation and creating ecosystems that then generate new value for our collective clients, you have to think about it in the context of creating those ecosystems around APIs, around RESTful APIs on the internet in a way that allows them to do business, with whomever they want, okay? Which means fundamentally being based on open technologies. And in today's environment, open technologies are driven by open communities. And open communities are driven by open source, okay? But one of the commitments that we've made to at least our strategy is not just open source and open communities, but open governance. So we will not join an effort that does not have an open governance model, okay, or is not driving towards an open governance model. So everything that you see here as key elements of our open architecture in one form or another is either driving to or adopting an open governance model, okay? Because we want those open ecosystems. So that IaaS capability around a software-defined environment in OpenStack gives us the level of flexibility to move or repurpose workloads to different aspects of optimization. One of the major initiatives that we've tried to champion in the OpenStack community is essentially a project called RefStack. And one of the reasons why we've tried to champion RefStack is because just like we learned with things like J2EE in the Java timeframe, is it's as important to focus on interoperability as it is to focus on making sure that everybody implements a common set of APIs and, to the extent that they can, a common implementation. The other model or principle that we actually use in our implementations of OpenStack is anything that we do that deviates from any particular implementation in the open source gets contributed back into open source, which means that we will not deviate from that single code tree. Okay? We've made that particular commitment to the community, and we will stick with it. So in that particular context, we've been doing a lot, okay? So, and we keep refining these particular numbers because we don't want to be number one because we make modifications to improving the structure of comments or making spelling corrections in the comments. That's not the reason why we joined OpenStack, and we don't play the game of trying to be number one by essentially making random contributions or silly contributions. So we try to be serious about the community, and we try to be serious about our engagement with that particular community. We will continue to do that, and we will continue to put more muscle in the community in that particular open governance model. As many of you know, and as I've talked about basically, we just acquired a company called Blue Box. We felt that that particular company had a very good model for controlling and managing OpenStack deployments. And so we decided to accelerate some of their capabilities by incorporating it into our overall OpenStack offerings. It will help us to move faster on what we call local deployments of OpenStack in particular. We already have essentially cloud-based OpenStack deployment where we have in our public cloud around SoftLayer essentially managed environments that are both private as well as public. So in the public side, basically, as well as in the managed private side, we have quite a number of data centers throughout the world. And within the context of those particular data centers, you can actually spin up either an isolated instance that is not shared of OpenStack, or you can have one that essentially gives you the ability to leverage shared resources. And that's across our enterprise data centers. So with that, basically, we will continue to evolve our contributions. As I said before, we're committed to making sure that we are a good steward in the context of the OpenStack community. And we will continue to add value where we see integration, for example, as a key element, cloud brokerage, multi-cloud brokerage, especially through the evolution of and test cases that allow us to make sure that we can interoperate across OpenStack instances, no matter where they come from or what supplier essentially that it generates those particular OpenStack implementation. We believe that the value is in the ecosystem and in the community, not necessarily in any individual instance of an OpenStack solution. And that commitment will continue to grow. So with that as an introduction, I want to thank you for your time, and hopefully we can do business together. Thank you very much.